Gastrointestinal Physiology, Digestion and Absorption. Welcome to another insightful episode where we explore the wonders of the human body. Today, we're delving into the intricate journey of digestion and absorption, the final and most rewarding chapter of the digestive process. Here, the coordinated mechanical movements and secretions of the gastrointestinal tract come together to extract and deliver vital nutrients to our system. Digestion and absorption. The harvest of nutrients. Let's begin by understanding what digestion and absorption truly entail. Digestion is the chemical breakdown of large, complex food molecules into smaller, absorbable units. This process depends on hydrolysis reactions, which are driven by specific enzymes. Absorption, on the other hand, is the process by which the products of digestion, along with water, electrolytes, and vitamins, are transported from the intestinal space into the bloodstream or the lymphatic system. The small intestine, especially the duodenum and jejunum, serves as the primary site for both digestion and absorption. Its extensive surface area, amplified by folds, villi, and microvilli, makes it uniquely suited for efficient nutrient uptake. Carbohydrate digestion and absorption. The goal of carbohydrate digestion is to convert complex carbohydrates, such as polysaccharides and disaccharides, into simple sugars that can be absorbed. This process begins in the mouth, where salivary amylase initiates the breakdown of starch into smaller polysaccharides and maltose. However, this activity halts once the food reaches the acidic environment of the stomach. The journey resumes in the small intestine. Pancreatic amylase continues breaking down starch into maltose, maltotriose, and small dextrins, enzymes located on the microvilli of the intestinal lining, called brush border enzymes, complete this process. Maltase breaks maltose into two glucose molecules. Sucrase splits sucrose into glucose and fructose. Lactase divides lactose into glucose and galactose. Finally, alpha-dextrinase handles the remaining dextrins, producing glucose. Absorption then takes place. Glucose and galactose are absorbed via a mechanism known as secondary active transport, which involves their co-transport with sodium ions. These sugars are then released into the blood through specialized transporter proteins. Fructose, however, enters the cells by a process called facilitated diffusion, using a separate transporter. A common clinical issue related to this process is lactose intolerance, which results from a deficiency of the enzyme lactase. When lactose remains undigested, it draws water into the intestinal space, leading to diarrhea, and is fermented by bacteria, causing gas, bloating, and cramps. Protein digestion and absorption. The objective in protein digestion is to break down dietary proteins into amino acids, dipeptides, and tripeptides for absorption. This begins in the stomach, where the enzyme pepsin starts digesting proteins into large polypeptides. In the small intestine, pancreatic enzymes, secreted in inactive forms, take over. Trypsin, chymotrypsin, and elastase cleave internal peptide bonds, producing smaller peptides, while carboxypeptidase removes amino acids from the ends of these chains. Further breakdown happens at the brush border, where aminopeptidases and dipeptidases produce single amino acids. Absorption occurs through specific sodium-dependent co-transporters for amino acids. Interestingly, most protein is absorbed as dipeptides and tripeptides through a hydrogen ion-coupled transporter. Once inside the cell, these peptides are converted into amino acids, which then leave the cell and enter the bloodstream. Fat digestion and absorption. The goal of fat digestion is to break triglycerides into fatty acids and monoglycerides, making them suitable for absorption and transport. While lipase enzymes in the mouth and stomach play a minor role, the majority of fat digestion occurs in the small intestine. Here, bile salts and mechanical mixing emulsify fat globules, breaking them into tiny droplets to increase the surface area for enzyme action. Pancreatic lipase then hydrolyzes triglycerides, yielding free fatty acids and monoglycerides. These products, along with fat-soluble vitamins, are incorporated into tiny, water-soluble structures called micelles, which carry their cargo to the intestinal lining for absorption. Fatty acids and monoglycerides then diffuse passively across the cell membrane. Inside the cell, they are reassembled into triglycerides and packaged with cholesterol and proteins into particles called chylomicrons. Because chylomicrons are too large to enter blood capillaries, they are excreted into the lymphatic system and eventually reach the bloodstream via the thoracic duct. This unique route explains why absorbed fats bypass the liver's portal circulation initially. Unlike carbohydrates and proteins, Absorption of other substances. Water is absorbed by osmosis, primarily in the jejunum but also in the ileum and colon. Sodium is taken up through various mechanisms, including co-transport with nutrients and active transport. Iron is absorbed in its ferrous form in the duodenum, aided by vitamin C, while calcium is absorbed through active transport, a process regulated by vitamin D. Fat-soluble vitamins, such as vitamins A, D, E, and K, are absorbed with dietary fats within micelles, while water-soluble vitamins use specific carriers. Vitamin B12, however, requires binding to intrinsic factor for its absorption in the terminal ileum. Summary. In summary, digestion is a stepwise, enzyme-driven process that dismantles food into its basic components, while absorption is a highly specialized system of transport that ensures the efficient entry of nutrients into the body. The remarkable structure of the small intestine and tailored absorption mechanisms for each nutrient guarantee that our bodies receive the essential energy and building blocks needed to thrive. Thank you for joining us for this in-depth exploration of gastrointestinal physiology. If you found this episode valuable, please like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more fascinating insights. This is the Everything Surgery Podcast, where we dissect the extraordinary.